How you doing, guys? I wanted to put a little video together to help with the new standby thing that we have for this year. I got some notes here. Bear with me. I'm going to try to do this in one take, and I'll try to make it short so we don't wear down all your batteries. So I put that email out with two options that we're going to do for standby. Everybody seemed to like the second option better, with just calling the clubhouse and not have to worry about if this blind shoots out. That blind should be the first one to move up and stuff like that. So we're going to keep it real easy, real basic. And I'm doing it as I don't want to get involved in moving guys up. I want there just to be a system in place. So there's no favoritism, and I don't want to be accused of anything, and I don't want members to feel obligated. We'll have a system in place. It'll be fair, and we'll give it a try this year. If it doesn't work, and then we could always tweak it a little bit next year. So I want to first thank everybody for the emails and talking guys at the club about the standby, and a lot of it was positive. There was only a couple that were talked about, you know, it's kind of lazy man thing with picking standby. It's not something that happens very often that we could move guys up, but when we do, like I said, I want to have a system in place for when it does happen. So if you take the standby, you know, you may or may not hunt that day. So, you know, it's something that you'll have to think about. And it only happens a few times a year that we get, you know, that great a hunting that we could just get guys in there. But when it does happen, obviously, we try to get as many guys as we can get in there so everybody could have fun. So this is how we're going to do the standby group. Standby group, they got to follow the same rules as the drawn a pit. So in other words, what I'm saying is during the week, Monday through Friday, if you're going to be in a standby and you pick standby, you got to have two shooters. It doesn't have to be two members. It's just got to be two shooters in the blind. So it could be you and a kid that's hunting, or you and a guest, or 2, 3, 4 members, whatever. On the weekends, you got to have 3 guns that are going to be shooting in that blind. Obviously non-hunters and you know, that doesn't count. So kids do count as a gun as long as they're hunting. So they have to follow the same rules. That's number one. Number 2 is when you pick standby, that is your pick. All you're doing, instead of picking a pit blind, now we got guys out hunting today, so don't look at this, but I put a mock draw over here which just threw some numbers out there. But if you decide to pick standby, that's your pick. Instead of picking pit 3 or 5 or 6 or whatever the heck you want to pick, you would just claim, I want to be standby. Now, could there be more than one standby group? Yes, there could be 2, 3, 4. That's up to you. The picking order would be, you know, standby 1, obviously, and then standby 2 group. We're not going to start this until after duck season is over. We can't do it during duck season because the ducks fly too late, and there's just no time to move guys up. And then you got guys that are maybe still waiting to shoot their geese, or vice versa. It could be guys shooting their geese and then they want to wait for the afternoon to shoot their ducks. So the standby will not take place this year until December 26th. It'll always take place after the duck season is closed for the central zone. So if a group shoots out, all I'm asking is that they call the clubhouse. Now, even if you don't shoot out, it's always a good idea just to call the clubhouse to see if there's anybody here just hanging out. Even if somebody doesn't claim standby that day and everybody's out hunting, and maybe you shoot a limit of birds, maybe you don't shoot a limit of birds, maybe before you pick your decoys up, even if there wasn't a standby group, call the clubhouse telephone. Maybe there's someone here that wants to hunt that blind or has just been hanging out to see what's going on. But call the clubhouse. You should call the clubhouse anytime you're going to, you know, before you jump out of the blind. Now, I would say after 2:30, that's the time frame I'm using, is after 2:30, if you shoot out, just close the blind up and come back to the clubhouse. There's no way we're going to be able to get guys to clean up their blind and then get over and try to shoot birds out of the blind that maybe just shot out, or, you know, whatever, or even a standby. They're waiting after 2:30, the time they get out of here, get all their gear and everything out to the blind, they're going to be almost, you know, time to pick up. So at 2:30 is the deadline for everything. If you shoot out or if you leave the club before 2:30, just for goose season, call the clubhouse, see if anybody's here. If there was a standby group, and then obviously they can take that blind. Now the standby group can pass that up. Maybe it's a blind that shot out that they really don't want to hunt. Why they don't want to hunt it, I don't know, but maybe they're waiting for something better. They have that option to say, no, we're going to wait for another blind. Now the standby group, if you do take the standby, you're expected to be there here in the clubhouse until 2:30. You know, wouldn't be right to pick standby and things ain't going as good as you want, and you leave at 12 o'clock because maybe there was another group that was there at the 6:30 draw that wanted to pick standby. So if you take the standby, you have to be here till 2:30. Do I expect you to be in the clubhouse right at the beginning? No. If you want to go get breakfast and come back, because we know no one's going to probably shoot out for the first hour or two, that's fine. But you're expected to be back here in the clubhouse waiting for the phone to ring, stick your head out, look at the birds, that's fine. You know, there should always be one person in your group, though, here after you get back from breakfast, ready to answer the phone. And then you can let that group know if you want to come out or not. Now, if there's somebody else in the clubhouse, obviously the standby group is priority number one. And the next priority is always the guys that made the draw at 6:30 in the morning. So if somebody shows up at 9, 10, 11 o'clock and they're just hanging out and they're waiting for the phone to ring and there's a standby group there, we should take care of the guys that were here at the 6:30 draw that put the effort in to be here. Then the guys that show up later in the day, if there's nobody else wants to get in that blind, and then fine, and then they can jump in after the standby group. So that's the pecking order of that. Let's see where we're going now. Give me 1 second here, look over my notes. No standby group, 3 during the week, or I'm sorry, 3 on the weekends, 2 during the week. Now, here's what I would expect to happen or would like to happen if there is no standby group with a couple of the blind sites. 2 and 3 are in the same field. Even if there's not a standby group, or if there is not a standby group and you're in pit 3 or 2 and one of those 2 blinds shoot out, I would expect you to invite those guys over, you know, let them put their stuff and let blind 2 walk over to 3 and let them shoot their birds. That's what I would like to happen. On the east side of the field, all the blinds are relatively close. We know blind 9 struggles a little bit between 6, 7, and 8. You know, if you're in 6, 7, or 8 and you shoot out and somebody is in 9, you should make the effort of going over there to 9 and say, hey, you know, they're eating us up over here, you know, do you want to come and hunt that blind? That's what should happen. Just remember, you might be in that one pit that's watching everybody else shoot, and it's only, you know, fair, or that's what you would want to happen if you were in a blind that wasn't shooting birds. So work together on that. The other blinds, you know, blind 4 and 5, they're kind of out there on their own. Blind 11 is kind of out there on their own, 18. Those blind sites, you know, and the layout blind sites, if you shoot out in the layout blind, you know, you want to call the clubhouse and say, hey, they're hitting 16 and 17 back there, call the clubhouse. Maybe there is somebody with a layout blind or an A-frame or whatever that wants to set up, that's fine. Go in and make it work. Just make it fair, make friends, talk, get guys moved up. But when we have the standby, this is how it'll work. I put up a little mock drill here to maybe walk it through and clear up anything. If you have questions, please let me know. Again, don't worry about the numbers up here because those guys are out hunting today. But I just threw some groups up there and we'll just pretend that it's Monday. So we know in this, the way it's set up here, we have more than 2 here. We got more than 2 guns here, more than 2 guns here. We got 2 guns here. And over here, well, he only got 1 gun in there because he's with a non-hunter. So he could still get in the draw. And if his name came out first or second or whatever, he could take a layout blind. A lot of guys, you know, forget about that. But he could take a layout blind, or he would just wait until these other 4 groups picked a pit or wherever they wanted to hunt, and then he would take the open spot, whatever is left. Pick of that. So now we go through. I'm going to grab a marker here real quick. And let's just say, for instance, I'm just going to make this real easy and go right down the line. And say number 5 came out and he wanted to go to blind 6. We would mark the 6 up there. None of this changes. And the next number that came out was 17. He may say, I want to go to 3. And the next number came out. say it was 6. 6 came out, third, and he says, I want to be standby. Okay, just put the STB there for standby. We know he's a standby group, and we know there's only 2 blinds, 2 picks left. And let's say 35 came out next, and he says, well, I want to hunt a pit today. I don't want to go to a layout. I don't have my stuff with me. That's fine. Okay, you get the next pick after this last group picks. So maybe that blind wants to go to 1, and then this guy, he could take a pit now, and he wants to go to 8. So that's how the board should look Monday through Friday, even on Saturday. The only thing that would change on Saturday, Sunday, and the weekends is they would get last pick, and these guys would get last pick after the groups came out. If you know, we could just run through that real quick. Let me grab the eraser. So that's how that would look on that. Let's just say it's a weekend. Same thing comes out. Let's just say 5 came out first again. He wants to go to pit 1. And the next one that came out was 17. Well, we're a weekend or a holiday. Again, he could sit there and say, hey, I want to go to a layout blind. Not a problem. But if he wants to wait for a pit, he may say, hey, I'm going to wait for a pit. Go ahead and give me a pass. I'll take what's left. That's fine. He's got the first pass. He's got the first pick, I'm sorry, after these other 2 groups had picked, because these 2 groups can't take a pit as their name came out of the hat, but they can take a layout blind. So maybe the next one came out was 15, and he'd just say, I want to go to pit 7, and maybe these guys now said, hey, I want to do standby. So they're going to be standby. And this guy wants to hunt pit 6, and this guy wants to go to, I don't know, we'll put them over in 3 today. And that's how that would look like that. So these guys are out hunting. They know there's a standby group. They go out, they hunt, and blind 3 shoots out. Boom, he would call up the clubhouse, and these guys should answer the phone, this group here. So inventory number 6, 4, and 3. Hey, you guys, I was in blind 3. Me and my daughter or son, he wasn't hunting, but the birds are out here. Do you want to jump in that blind? They may say yes or no. That's up to them. They could pass, and then just go ahead and clean it up if they don't want to get out there and jump in there. If they do want to jump in, go ahead and erase their name off of there. When you get back to the club, the standby group, they just leave their name up there and they say, oh, you were in blind 3? Yeah, okay, we're going to erase you off. So they take them off blind 3, they erase it here, and the standby group now becomes pit number 3. And then they can just go out there and they could get out there relatively quick, and that's the way it'll look, just like that. That's about it on that. It's pretty straightforward. Again, if there's no standby group, I still want everybody to get in the habit of calling the clubhouse. I think it's a good idea. We got guys that are hanging out here. You know, give the clubhouse a call. That means if somebody is here and they were maybe waiting to see what was going on at one of these blind sites, you know, let them in there. There's 3 shoots out. There's nobody in 2. Okay, there's nobody to wave up into there, and there's 2, 3 guys just hanging out here watching TV, whatever. Yeah, and they pick up the phone and they say, hey, we shot out. We had 3 guys. We killed our 6 geese. Do you want to get in here? Yeah, we'll get in there and hunt. You guys want to hunt? Yes. Okay, boom. You know, they'll race it off. They'll put that blind 3 up there. They'll go out there. Now the guys that are out hunting, guess what? Now they don't have to pick up the decoys that are in the pit. So let's give it a try this year. We'll see what happens. Give me your feedback. Shoot me emails. How it's going. I think it's going to go smooth with the phone we got back there. The phone number's on the back wall. Everybody should program it in their phone so they have it, and just get in the habit of answering the phone when it rings and calling before you pick up your decoys, because maybe you don't have to pick them up because there's someone hanging out here at the clubhouse. So thank you very much. Sorry about jibber jabbing, but I'm trying to do this. I think it's the best way to do it is to get on video instead of trying to write it all out, so you hear it right from me. I think guys maybe will watch it and it'll pick up better and it'll go smoother. Thank you very much. Have a good one.